My name is Robert. I'm 68 years old, and I destroyed my entire retirement with one safe investment. $890,000. Gone. If you're watching this right now, you still have time to make sure this never happens to you. And if you think, that could never be me, I'm careful. I used to think exactly the same thing. When I was 55, my life looked perfectly fine. I worked as a mid-level engineer for almost 30 years. My salary was decent, around $95,000 a year near the end. I wasn't flashy, no sports cars, no crazy vacations. I had a wife, Linda, and 2 kids already out of the house. Our dream was simple: pay off the house, help with the grandkids, and retire quietly. Growing up, I was taught one simple rule about money. If you save, the system will take care of you. Work hard, contribute to your 401k, trust the experts. If the bank said it was safe, I believed them. If someone had a title on their business card, I assumed they knew better than me. I didn't try to get rich quick. I just wanted to retire without being a burden. Then one day at church, I met a man who changed everything. He was a financial advisor recommended by a couple we trusted. Everyone said the same thing. He's honest, he's safe, he treats clients like family. He told me about a special capital preservation program for people close to retirement. High safety, consistent returns, 6 to 8% a year, protected from market crashes. He looked me right in the eye and said, "You've worked too hard to gamble in the stock market. Let me put you into something safe, something I put my own parents in." I didn't realize it yet, but that conversation was the beginning of my financial horror story. He called it a private note fund backed by real estate and safe loans. Technically, it was an unregistered alternative investment, the kind of thing that sounds sophisticated when you don't know better. He promised steady 7% a year, no stock market risk, principal protected, you can sleep at night. Compared to my 401k swinging up and down, it sounded like a life raft. So I started small, with $50,000, money from an old rollover IRA. 3 months later, the statements came. Interest paid, right on time. I even got a small quarterly distribution direct to my bank account. He invited me to a client dinner. Room full of people my age, talking about grandkids and cruises. Everyone smiling. Everyone getting safe returns. I told my wife, this is what we've been looking for. No more market roller coaster. That's when my ego started to go blind. I thought I would found the secret path that regular people too scared to invest would never understand. Over the next year, I moved more money in. I rolled over another IRA. I shifted my taxable investments. Every time I hesitated, he'd say, "Robert, look at your statements. Have we ever missed a payment?" I started borrowing against our paid-off house with a home equity line of credit because he said, "Why let that equity sit there doing nothing? At 4% borrowing cost and 7% return here, you're making free money." He made charts. He showed me projections. In every one, we retired comfortably with more money than we ever thought possible. I even took $120,000 from my wife's inheritance after her mother passed away. I told her, "This way your mom's money will work for us forever." In my head, there was only one voice. Just this one last move, then you'll be set for life. By the time I was 64, we had $890,000 tied up in this safe investment. Then, small cracks started to show. One quarter, the interest payment came a week late. He said there was a banking delay. The next quarter, the statement looked different, less detail. No list of actual underlying loans, just a total balance and a performance summary. My wife asked, "Are you sure this is legit?" I called him. He laughed it off. Robert, if there was a problem, you think I'd let my own parents stay invested? Relax. The lawyers just made us change the format. More late payments, more vague emails. Suddenly, they were restructuring for tax efficiency. Every time something felt off, instead of pulling back, I told myself, if I cash out now, I'll lose the returns. Just wait, it'll bounce back. One more quarter. Then, one day, the payments stopped completely. No email, no letter, just silence. That was the day I realized there was no safe path out of this. Weeks went by. His office phone went to voicemail. The website disappeared. Letters started arriving from regulators and lawyers. Investigation, possible fraud, Ponzi-like scheme. Total, we had $890,000 invested. To put that in perspective, that was more than 20 years of my after-tax salary. It was every overtime shift, every vacation we skipped, every small thing we told ourselves we can't afford right now. Gone. My wife stopped looking me in the eye. She never yelled. She just went quiet. That was worse. One night she said, "So, my mother's inheritance, it's all in there too?" I nodded. She walked out of the room and slept in the guest bedroom for 3 months. My kids tried to be supportive, but I could hear it in their voices on the phone. How could Dad let this happen? I stopped answering calls from unknown numbers. Every ring sounded like bad news. Another creditor, another lawyer, another update telling me there was nothing left to distribute. I stopped sleeping. I would lie awake staring at the ceiling, replaying every conversation with that advisor. Every time my gut said this feels too good, and I ignored it. I hated myself. Not just for losing the money, but for putting my wife's future at risk out of my own fear of missing out and my trust in the wrong person. That was the moment I truly believed it was too late to fix anything. But in that darkness, I started to learn some brutal truths about money, trust, and greed. If I could go back and talk to myself at 35, or 45, or even 55, here's what I would say. Lesson 1. Never hand over your entire financial future to someone you don't fully understand. If you can't explain in 1 or 2 sentences how an investment makes money and what the real risk is, you have no business putting your life savings in it. Lesson 2. Don't believe in high-return, low-risk, guaranteed products. They do not exist. If someone promises above-average returns with below-average risk and guarantees, you're not getting offered a genius strategy. You're being groomed. Lesson 3. Always keep a safety wall, a real emergency fund, diversified investments, and a strict rule: never put more than a reasonable percentage into anything you can't easily get out of. If you have to sign a fixed stack of papers and the money is locked up for years, double your skepticism. Lesson 4. When your stomach tightens, when you feel embarrassed to ask dumb questions, that's your warning siren. That feeling is not something to ignore. That is the moment to stop, slow down, and say, "No, not until I fully understand." Lesson 5. Money can be rebuilt, but certain things can't be. Time with your kids, trust in your marriage, your health, your sleep, your peace of mind. Don't trade those things for a promise of a better return. If there is one thing I want you to take from my story, let it be this. Never invest in anything just because you trust the person. Trust the process, trust the numbers, and trust your own questions more than someone else's title. Write that down. Put it somewhere you'll see it before you sign anything. Today, I'm 68. I still work part-time at a hardware store to cover our bills. Our retirement is smaller, simpler, and we had to sell the house we thought we'd die in. The scars are still there.
My wife and I went through counseling. We rebuilt our trust slowly, not by pretending it didn't happen, but by talking about money honestly for the first time in our marriage. I can't get $890,000 back, but I can use this story to make sure you don't become the next polite, trusting victim. So pause for a second and ask yourself, how much debt do you really have right now? Do you actually know where your money goes every month? And who exactly are you trusting with your savings? Don't wait until you're 68, staring at an empty account and a stack of legal letters to start asking those questions. If you want to hear more real financial horror stories so you can learn before it's too late, hit subscribe and watch the next episode. One story might save you from losing not just your money, but decades of your life.